Much of my work revolves around the original wound. There's something that happened to us or perception that we adopted early on in life that limited our belief about ourselves, that limited how we see ourselves. This is the original wound. Watch this video. The thing to first understand is these limitations only ever come from seeing how we measure up, seeing how we're being loved or not loved, getting our needs met, and really identification with something outside of ourselves, whether it be our own family, society, friend groups, whatever it is. We see ourselves as opposed to something else. So separation. We see ourselves not as one, but as individualized. And there are two main times in our lives that these individuation processes can have injury. One, when we're children and we're really coming into our identity before 2 years old or around 2 years old. And two, when we're in our teen years, when we're saying, who are we in the world? We're leaving, we're going to college, what's high school like, what are our relationships like? These are the two biggest times that we have these wounds. And if we have one in the early years, you can almost guarantee it's going to come back up to the surface in your teen years, whether it be an event or an emotional sort of thing that comes forward because of an event to be healed, but it will come forward. This is when a lot of people start having issues around food, eating disorders, emotional disorders, relationship issues. This is all a reflection of your relationship to self. So if we look at the original wound as anything that happens in our lives or perceived by us in our lives to make us think that we are less than who we truly are, don't measure up, aren't enough, we start to embody this identification issue, this identity trauma, I call it, because it is traumatic. We are constantly in this emotional wound that is at the surface that we don't understand, that has to do with external validation of an internal knowing, of an internal sense of self. So these original wounds, I'm going to say everyone has on some level, whether it be, oh, this happened when I was 5 and that made me feel like this, or wow, this happened when I was 5 and it really stayed with me and now I experience it over and over in all my relationships, or I do it to myself. What happens, I'll explain from my own healing experiences, having an original wound and not knowing that it's actually a wound and not a reality. Many people think this happened to me because, and they own the because, and they say this is who I am. This is very hard. And when we think that, we don't know that there's actually a wound that happened. We don't know that we actually deserve to think better of ourselves or our surroundings. So we say, this is just part of my identity. This happened to me. As kids, anything in our environment is a reflection of us. Everything's a reflection of us. We are kids. We are self-centered. This is who we are when we're very young. And we mature out of that. But you don't fully mature out of that until you upgrade these wounds, heal these wounds. So this is the scenario. Something happened that created an original wound and you don't know it's a wound. So it lives within you and you start believing these emotions, these negative emotions, these wounding as if it's you. So every time it comes up, you're like, that's my intuition. It's not. It's your wound. And that's one of the biggest issues people have that come to me. Is it my fear? Is it my intuition? Is it my wound? Is it the truth? I'm going to help you with that right now. So what happens is we have this original wound and it doesn't get healed. So it keeps coming up in similar situations or situations that trigger it. And we recreate the original pain because we don't know our way out of it. So what this looks like is we create something in our lives, whether it be a relationship sabotage or eating disorders or, gosh, there's so many things. Most things everyone comes to me are because of an original wound. I'm going to say everything is. So what happens is we recreate this to then feel what we felt the first time. And what happened in my own life is I made enough mistakes or I did it the wrong way enough times where I finally watched that trail back to the original wound and said, Holy shit. This is why I'm doing that. I don't believe I deserve this. That's what I believed at the beginning. It's because I don't deserve love. It's because I don't deserve this, whatever it is for you. And if you don't think you deserve it, you recreate it to validate the original belief system. And when you get hurt enough or destroy enough or find yourself in a dead end enough or in a place you don't want to be enough, you can wake up and realize, okay, it did happen to me at the beginning, but I don't have to keep making it happen to me. I don't have to recreate this pain. What I can do is look at it, feel it, and heal it. And the way we do that is we realize, what are the beliefs? What am I doing? What am I chasing? What am I sabotaging? What is it for you? Am I punishing myself? A lot of people have been coming to me lately with these food issues, which I think is so timely and important, because anything to have to do with your identity, you're going to try to control your identity if you don't think it's enough. If you don't think that who you truly are is worthy or powerful of what you truly want, you're going to try to control things to make it happen. So a lot of people try to control their body if they can't control their environment. So why are you doing this to yourself? What is it you feel you're getting? Why do you think you need to do that to get it? What about you isn't enough? What about you is fearing part of you? What about you are you afraid to share? What about you? Have you bought into the belief that you are not enough, you are limited, you are not powerful, you don't deserve to be in your own light? What about you? All of these negative patterns that we have in life, no matter what it is for you, come from an original wound of something about me is not what I think it should be, or not good enough, or not what it truly is. It's a lie. And that's why we carry negative emotion. And that's why we carry negative pattern, because it's a part of ourselves that's trying to work us out of it. And when it gets painful enough, which I hope you don't have to experience, you will wake up and you will say, holy shit, I can do something about this. I deserve to do something about this. And when you see that the original time it happened, no one did anything about it, you created yourself into this victim that recreated it. When you say, I'm not a victim, the people that did this to me or the scenario that happened to me wasn't ever about me anyway. And I say this a lot in my videos. A lot of people think this happened to me. If I was enough, God wouldn't have done this. But what we forget is people have free will. People make mistakes. God, in my opinion, universe, source, does not. But people do. And when you forgive the people that make mistakes and you forgive yourself, which is the hardest thing in the world, then you realize that you were already forgiven from somewhere else. And it's us that continues our original wounding pattern for so long. And when we realize, oh my gosh, I have the choice and the ability right now to change that and completely transform whatever this is, you will be the change. But you have to realize it comes from within. You have to realize it comes from you. You have to realize that you have the power to see the people in your life for who they truly are, and to take your power back and realize people are not God. People are people who make mistakes and have free will. And unless their free will is connected to their higher will, they're making mistakes. And they're probably making a lot of mistakes. And once you connect with your higher will and realize that God, source, universe never had anything bad intended for you, you don't have to have anything bad intended for yourself. Hope you like this video. Hope you like this video. Sometimes I can't speak when I'm in my flow. Please check the links below, and I'll see you next week. Namaste.